Okay, so welcome. This is a Knowledge Bites webinar hosted by BDCC's Southern Vermont Economy Project. And today we have Kristen Andrews with us, who's going to talk about internships through the University of Vermont Career Center, which is a great way for businesses, organizations, municipalities to build their capacity while also helping support our young workforce in Vermont. So these webinars are just to give you a little background, are part of our program, which is in part funded through the USDA through our Rural Community Development Initiative grant that helps us build capacity for local projects across Southern Vermont. And so we do these webinars at least once, if not twice or three times a quarter. So at the end, I will give you guys the link to the next one that's happening on March 3rd. But now I'm going to let Kristen take it away and just tell us about how to host an intern, how you can go about it. How do you make it a good fit? How do you make it a successful experience and help you build capacity? So, Kristen, take it away.
Great. Well, thank you so much for inviting me here today. I work at the University of Vermont. I work in the Career Center. I'm called the Internship Outreach and Engagement Coordinator. So my job is really to work with employers to help them figure out how they can connect with the talent here at UVM, but also to help create really engaging experiential education opportunities for students. And another part of my job is to work with the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships, which is an organization whose whole goal is to bring the talent of UVM to rural areas of Vermont. And so part of how we do that is that we run summer internship programs in different areas of Vermont outside of Chittenden County each summer. So it's super exciting for me to get to talk to some folks in Southern Vermont because we're always, as a land grant organization, land grant university, trying to make sure that we're not just focused on Chittenden County, that we are reaching out to other folks. So really appreciate this opportunity to talk with you today. So I have some slides, and what I thought is I put together some information about internship best practices. I could present that, but then leave plenty of time for you to ask your own questions so that we can have a conversation. Okay, so I thought that I would start with just hearing from you. What brought you here today when you saw the topic of internships? Why did you join us today? And are there certain questions you have? So it'd be great to hear from you.
Can feel free just to unmute and ask a question, or you could drop it also in the chat if you have specific questions. If not, maybe you'll have questions at the end.
Okay, it's okay. You can just eat your lunch and listen. Totally fine. But my next question just for you was, is anyone here, were you ever an intern yourself? And if you were, would you just give us a quick, like, what was that like for you? Any memories of being an intern?
Hi, this is Sally.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out where to unmute me, but I finally did. What brings me here today, first of all, is that I'm with the SD Organ Museum here in Brattleboro. I'm on the board. It's a very small organization. We have board members who, the majority of them are not local. And those of us who are local are stretched pretty thin trying to accomplish all the obligations for the organization. One of our biggest ones is trying to find people to volunteer to be a host for the museum. We don't require that they be a docent. And it's pretty hard to find a community of people who, sorry about that, who will, who are willing to just give us 2 hours once a month to become a host for the museum. So we have a new board member who's just come on, who is a music instructor at Bennington College, University of Vermont, and I'm sorry, University of Massachusetts and Amherst College. And he is a great resource, not only because he's a different generation, he's much younger than the rest of us, but he also has access to a lot of students, and he feels that he can bring in some interns for us, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
I forgot your second question.
My second question was, were you ever an intern
No,
when you
I
were
was,
just
no, I have never been an intern.
okay? Great.
I can answer too. So I came to this at the suggestion of a select board member, just to see what it was and start thinking about it. Meg said the magic word, building capacity. Like we need that in town. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Erica Elder, and I'm the town administrator of Guilford, Vermont.
Oh, great.
And so, municipal governments are all totally stretched thin. I think it's a universal fact in Vermont that there's about half as many people working for the town government as we need to be doing all the tasks. We're completely maxed out all the time. So just to think about inviting an intern in, my first thought, of course, was like, I don't have time for that. But um, but yeah, building capacity is definitely important. And if we can make some space for anybody that wants to join us, we're happy to do that and to kind of hopefully enrich the future of working for municipalities in Vermont, which is, it's really cool, but a lot of people don't have a clue what I do. People are like, you're the town clerk, right? Um, and yes, I was an intern. I went to film school in New York City, and I interned at a uh, film company there.
Do you remember any highlights or what that was like for you?
Oh, it was so cool. They gave me a whole bunch of petty cash and sent me down to Canal Street to buy props one day. It was so cool. Like it was just sort of like, we need something done, you can do it. And I feel like we could also do that. My town clerk was just saying, well, we have certain times of year where we do big mailings, so that's definitely something we could use hands for. Um, I think we could think about that as
Yeah.
far as an intern goes. Yeah.
It's interesting. The thing that you remember is the day when they sent you off by yourself and
Yeah.
where you could really accomplish something for them that they didn't have time to
Mm-hmm.
do. That's great.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, let's run through some of what I've learned in my time. I am a former high school teacher, and I've been here for maybe 4 years, kind of learning about what employers need and what students need. And so I'll just share with you a little bit of what I've learned. So, for our agenda today, we'll talk about why you should host an intern, what kind of requirements there are, how do you write the job description, do you have to pay the interns, how do you recruit them, something about something called micro internships, and finally, some questions to consider when hiring an intern. So, there's our agenda for today. So, why should you hire an intern? My favorite word is reciprocity. It should be a win-win situation. So for an employer, you get the opportunity to discover some new talent, to increase your capacity. There's always fresh ideas that come in. The students are so great at the latest technology. They're super amazing at learning how to do things really quickly by Googling it. You'll find that's very helpful. And it also creates, if you have other staff, mentorship opportunities for your staff can be a really wonderful thing for your office to find that each member of your staff is having an opportunity to do some teaching. It actually makes us do our jobs better when we're teaching them, and sometimes makes it people are more interested in working for you when there's young folks around with new energy. And then what the interns get out of it is they get to explore and expand career options, see what's possible, work in a place they like working in a municipal office in a rural town. They would have no idea what that would be like. And just to see all the partnerships that are happening and all the ways that people are working together to help each other in a community is so valuable for students. And to have that professional mentorship with their supervisor plus other people that are working in the office to deepen their classroom learning. Oftentimes they can apply things that they've been learning in college and just to be able to help you, to help build your capacity and to have one of those autonomous projects that they can really feel proud of at the end of the summer. Okay, so what do you need to do to hire an intern? You need a position description. You have to think carefully about what it is that you'd like that intern to do for you, what they can learn, how they can learn it. So we'll go through some specifics about that. You need some kind of a dedicated supervisor. There has to be somebody that the intern can check in with. You do not need to be standing next to the intern all the time for sure. But at least once a week, there should be a time when you sit down with them. And again, we'll talk more about that. And thinking about compensation, are there ways that you can compensate the intern? It can be with money, it can be with other things. We'll talk about that as well. Okay, so a job description. What should it have in it? Should have a title that has the word internship in it, so that, and a sort of a career area, so that, like communications intern, right? So then if it's a student that's studying communications, they're going to find that. You need a clear description of the work that includes a project that the intern can work on autonomously. You should describe how you're going to supervise and support the intern. I'm going to meet with you once a week. You're going to have the opportunity to work with several team members in the office, just so that they understand what kind of connection they're going to have with you. And you can even mention that, there's opportunity for evaluation. You can talk about what growth opportunities there are, what skills they might develop, and including something called career competencies, which I'll show you in a minute, which is sort of the soft skills of working in a professional setting. And then a short list of skills and experience that you hope that they already have. And we encourage you to make those as broad as possible, because if you have somebody that's super excited about working for your organization, but has never worked in a museum before, but is very interested, that might be a really great intern to have. Whereas if you say, must have worked in a museum before, you're going to really narrow your field, because many of these students haven't had the opportunity to work in these places before, but they may have skills and interests that would really make them a great candidate. These are the career competencies. So these are some of the things that students would want to practice while they're with you. In communicating critically, thinking critically. How does equity inclusion play out in your workplace? An opportunity to practice some leadership skills. What do professional skills look like in your office? Who can they work with on a team, and how can they use technology? So these are things you could mention in your job description as things that students could practice and learn. Because this comes from an organization called NACE, which is the National Association for Colleges and Employers. And they have identified that these are the things that employers are looking for, skills that they want students to have. So if we can show them that you're helping them to practice those skills, it's going to be valuable for them. Okay, so learning objectives. How can you help the student understand what they might learn in your workplace? So I just made a couple of examples here of how you might phrase that. So thinking about an industry-specific skill. If you said the intern will learn project and event management skills through mentorship by staff and gradually taking responsibility for planning and executing logistics. So there you've told them a specific skill that they would learn that relates to your profession. And then you've given them a hint of like how you're actually going to help them learn that. So that's more interesting to them than tell them that, oh, you're going to do project and event management. They're going to be like, well, how am I going to know how to do that? But if you let them know, no, we have a process for you to learn that, that's more attractive to them. So here's another example. Intern will learn to interview stakeholders by composing questions and conducting mock interviews with staff members, and then carrying out the autonomous interviews. So you show them there's a process you're going to help them learn. For career competencies, a couple more examples. Intern will learn to employ professional communication skills by using email templates to respond to common client inquiry emails and consulting with staff to address more complex inquiries. Or they can build their teamwork skills by attending team meetings and eventually taking on a collaborative role that supports the work of the team. So, and again, I'll share all this. Meg has these slides, so if you wanted to go back and look at them, I don't expect you to remember all this stuff, but just some examples. Okay, so what does it mean to be a dedicated supervisor? What are the things that might be required of you as a supervisor? So first of all, you're going to need to set up some orientation opportunity when the student gets there so that they understand the workings of your office and meet all the people. And so you'd really want to think carefully about how to orient them well when they get there so that they're ready to jump in and get work done for you. You would want to sit down with them and have some personalized goals, really understand what they want to learn out of the summer, what's really important for you. And so it's very clear to them what kind of outcomes you're looking for. And also they understand that there's certain goals of theirs that they'll get to meet during the summer. Making sure that they have access to other mentors on your staff if you have other people working for you. So super important to introduce them to everybody and so that they understand that, yes, you might be their main supervisor, but there's plenty of other people around that they could ask questions of and get to know. Set aside a weekly time where you would sit down with them, where you would provide feedback for them, and you would ask them to give you feedback on how you're doing as a supervisor. Are they feeling comfortable? Are they getting all their questions answered? Do they know what they're supposed to be doing? Those kinds of things. And giving them avenues to express concerns, making sure there's a way for them to let you know if things are not going well or they're not getting their questions answered. And then opportunities to reflect and articulate on their learning. That's another great thing to do in these weekly meetings. Just help them to think about like, well, what did you learn this week? And what does that mean to you? How is that useful to you? Because these are the skills that they need for their next job interview. So if you can help them think about what they're learning with you, that's super valuable for them. And finally, something at the end where they can present to your team or give a little presentation, something where they can show you what they've learned. And that presentation might be in the form of something that's very useful to you that you can use somewhere else. Maybe it's a presentation that talks about some project that's happening that they've been involved with over the summer. And those slides that they put together end up being the perfect thing for you to show to your funders, something like that. Again, that reciprocity where you're gaining and they're gaining. Okay, so dedicated supervision. Now let me stop here. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll keep going. So what about pay, right? This is a question many people want to know about. So if you do pay your intern, here's some things that are real benefits to finding a way to pay your intern. Diversifying your workforce, you're going to get a much broader spectrum of people that are going to apply to your internship if you're able to pay them, because there are just so many students that have to work that would love to work for you, but if you can't pay them, they can't work for you. So it really helps you to get a broader candidate pool and more applicants. And there's been studies done on unpaid versus paid internships, and we find that students are more engaged. When you're paying them, they understand that they're an employee, that they're working for you, and they're just more engaged. They feel more professional. And we've also learned that there's been studies or surveys asking employers about when you see a paid internship or an unpaid internship on a student's resume, does it matter? And employers have said they're much more likely to hire the student that had the paid internship. It's just seen as a more professional and more serious opportunity. And Vermont has a minimum wage of $14.42, and there is actually something called Fact Sheet 71 that outlines for you whether or not it's legal to have an unpaid internship, an intern working for you. There are ways, if it's determined that that student is gaining more from the intern than you are getting from the intern, you can make a case for not paying them. It's just an educational thing. It's somehow connected back to something that they're doing through a course. There are ways to legitimize that, but it would be important to check out this Fact Sheet 71 put out by the Department of Labor so you can see what criteria you need to fill in order to legally not pay the intern. Okay, but there's other ways to compensate an intern, right? Other than money, perhaps you have a little stipend that can help them defray the cost of housing and transportation. Maybe there are some vouchers or perks or passes to different things that you can provide for them that help them feel like they're getting some value. Maybe there's a conference you can pay for them to go to that your organization is going to, a particular certification that they could get or a training. And we have something called the Summer Internship Scholarship Program here at UVM through that I manage it through the Career Center. And a student can come to us and say, I have landed an unpaid internship. I really want to do this internship, but I need some money. And we can give them up to $4,000 if it's an internship that lasts at least 200 hours over the summer. They can apply to us and say, I've found this person. They would like to have me on as an intern, but they can't pay me. And we can give them up to $4,000 to make it possible for them to do that internship. Those funds are somewhat limited, but small nonprofits are great candidates for such scholarships. So the way that would work is you would, on the job description, you would say to the student, this is unpaid, but we encourage you, only if you're a UVM student, to apply for this summer internship funds. And there's a website there that you can provide for them. Okay, a lot of people wonder, well, what if they got credit? Could we give them credit instead of pay them? And that's a common misconception. But the way credit works is if a student has landed an internship with you and they want to use it for credit, they have to go to their faculty member who teaches what's called an internship class and sign up for that class. And then the faculty member helps them develop what's called a learning contract of what they understand that they're going to learn. That would be something that they would review with you, so you understood what it was that they were trying to learn in order to get credit for their internship. There's a memorandum of understanding that gets signed. But after that, it's really the faculty member that's managing the credit. But the difficult part about it is that the student has to pay for those credits. So therefore, if they're getting credit, they're also buying the credit. And especially in the summer when financial aid doesn't work quite the same way as during the school year, it becomes not affordable for them to get credit because they're having to buy the credit and they would much rather just earn some money over the summer. Okay, so that's credit. Okay, so how would you recruit some interns? If you wanted to get some people to apply, we have a great platform called Handshake, which is specifically for employers that are looking to hire people recently out of college. So this is where we send all of our students to look for jobs. And so this is something that I could help you get set up on here. You can go in there and it's a free account. You make an account, you post the position, and then the students actually apply right through this platform. And you're able to communicate with them and interview them and hire them right through this platform. So that's something that if you wanted to do that, I'd be very happy to help you with any technical support you needed on that. Also wanted to let you know that at UVM we are holding recruitment events often. And I know you're kind of far away, but I wanted you to know that in the fall and the spring we do have a big job and internship fair where over 100 employers come, and we had like 800 or 900 students that went to the last one. So it's a place where if you really were interested in recruiting, you could come up here, get a table, and just for 4 hours, 12 to 3 hours, just talk to students about what you're doing in your organization, what you're looking for. And then we also run these smaller networking events throughout the year that are based in our interest groups. So we have one in health careers, one in entrepreneurship, arts, media, and communication, STEM, education, policy and social impact, and food, environment, and sustainability. Doesn't actually say that on there, but that's what those little symbols mean. So again, if you wanted to come up and be part of one of those networking events that was more theme-based, that would be another opportunity for you. Okay, so just wondering about timing. If you were looking to hire a intern during the school semester, the semester is about 12 to 15 weeks. We feel that students can handle about 6 to 15 hours a week while they're also going to school. Whereas in the summer, you could have an intern from about mid-May until mid-August, and they could work up to 40 hours a week if that was what you wanted. It's great to post as early as possible. If you needed a fall intern, we would recommend that you post the spring before. If you want a spring intern, post in the fall. If you want a summer intern, you could be posting right now. And you can probably still get an intern if you missed that. That's to get like the biggest candidate pool is to really post early, but I have seen people post in March and find a summer intern. So, but just to, if you wanted to get the largest candidate pool, you would post those early. Okay, so there's also something called micro internships, which are run by this. There's a company called Parker Dewey, and they have a platform where you can post these little short-term paid professional projects, which are between 5 and 40 hours total. Like maybe you just need somebody to create a brochure for you or help you clean up some data, just something, or do some posting on social media for you. You just need a little project. You don't want to have an intern for a whole summer or a whole semester. You can post it on this platform called Parker Dewey, and they're all paid internships. And there's a sort of a scale that you can choose from. But what would happen is if you recruited an intern, a micro intern through this platform, they would do the work remotely. These are all remote positions. But you would actually pay Parker Dewey. You would send them the money that the intern would get paid, and they pay the intern. So it's really easy for you because there's no like onboarding or tax forms or anything like that. It's all handled through Parker Dewey. So another great thing about Parker Dewey is they have these little templates that you can go in and find. And let's say you wanted somebody to clean up your data, they already have a template. You can go in there and take whatever wording out of it that works for you, change it however you want it. They just make it easy for you to see kind of what the possibilities are. So those are some 10-hour total micro internship templates. Okay. And so finally, just kind of as a summary, a great internship, these are the things that interns really look for: meaningful work, effective mentoring, exploration of a potential career, and a chance to do some networking. So those are kind of the big four. I put a big list in here of questions to consider when designing an internship, which you could look at if you want to look at the link later. And here's my contact information. So what questions do you have? How can I help you?
I learned a lot to start out with, particularly about the issue of paying an intern, that it's illegal to not pay them unless, they're deriving more benefit than you are, which I'm not sure is the case. And I may have a hybrid situation in that this college teacher that wants to create this, I have to find out more details about it from him, but I think it's a situation where this is a summer semester that I believe the students have paid the college for.
Okay.
So and because I don't know much yet, Kristen, I'd like if I could reach out to you later when I find out more to see if indeed this would be a legal thing for us to do. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if it's part of a class and they've signed up for this class, and it just be the kinds of things that they're doing, like you're not supposed to have them doing something that you really should be paying somebody to do. Like, they're the cashier all day long or something like that in a store. But if it's clear that this is an educational opportunity for them, they're learning a bunch of things, there may be a way that could still work.
Right. I think I said that we were looking for people to be hosts, but I should have added that we have a lot of work that needs to be done with our collections, organizing them.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the music students would be interesting, particularly with the nature of what our museum is, which is organs, reed organs. Sorry, but so that's it. I have a little dog sitting here with me.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I would just say, in my experience, having hosted interns at an organization, it's often good to really have those kind of start with, we have some projects that we really need doing so that you have so I think that's great to sort of lead with what's the job description. And so what is it? And then thinking about what is the student going to get out of it is also something to really think about, that like you're going to have the opportunity to XYZ. But then, Kristen, I didn't think of that. I'm sort of telling them how they're going to learn that. So you don't want to make it sound like we're going to expect you to do this job, but that, it's an opportunity to do this job. And here's how we're going to help you get there. It's a really good way to kind of phrase it, of like, what are your objectives? And then how are you going to, help them arrive at that objective. So that's a really great. And I think having the support of the UVM team is fantastic. And I will also say, having hosted interns before, it was a great way to connect with sort of local students who had left, the area for college, but were back for the summer and maybe had some kind of job that was, part-time or in the evenings or whatever, but that wasn't really providing meaningful career experience. So maybe they're working at a cafe or they're, at a restaurant or whatever, but this 10 or 15 hours a week is helping them build their career. And so it doesn't have to be that you're going to hire somebody full time, but if you can give them the opportunity to come in and learn something and participate in something that's helping them build career skills, you really help connect those really great young people from your community to jobs that they could envision themselves doing in the community, besides waiting tables, working at the co-op, or whatever it is, right? So it's a great opportunity. I have experienced that and really enjoyed it. And again, finding the skills that, people on your board or in your office might not have. It's actually really wonderful to bring in an intern who's got those skills that can kind of bring in, and everybody really appreciates it.
Right.
And I will also say, at BDCC, we had a great intern last summer and again, he did a wonderful presentation at the end that we all really enjoyed. And we were like, wow, can you come back next year? You did such great work. So it was really fun for him to show off a little bit what he had done.
Yeah, one of the things I love about my job is that when people ask me what I do, I say I build community connections. I'm helping creating opportunities for different generations to learn about each other. And and I could also tell you that for the summer internship programs that we've been doing around the state, and we are coming to Brattleboro this summer to have a cohort of 10 interns that are working in Brattleboro. And they'll all work for organizations that are somehow supporting the Brattleboro community, and also have some connection back to the work of the School for International Training and supporting new Americans. But what we've discovered is when you have several interns in a community, and you facilitate connection between those interns, what happens is new connections start happening between organizations. Like the interns become like a conduit for building collaboration and cooperation and connections in your community.
Great. Well, so also to say, we're recording this, so we're going to share the recording and the slides out with everyone who's here, and also people who registered. I think sometimes people just wait to get the recording rather than coming on live, so everyone will get that. But if you have questions, we can take those. Otherwise, we'll just make sure you get all the materials. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Samuel.
Hi, I just had a quick question about the Parker Dewey platform. I got here late, so I don't know if you talked about it before, but I was just looking at it real quick. But it says it's based in Chicago, so does it do Vermont area at all?
Yeah, all the micro internships are remote. And so you would go on there and hire a student, and you could look for a student from a particular college, but there are students from all over the country that are looking for those opportunities. And so it would be done remotely.
Oh, okay. Oh, so yeah, that's why you were talking about the data analysis when I came in. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just dropping a couple of links into the chat. The first one is a link to our next Knowledge Bites webinar that we're doing. That will be on March 3rd. And this is interesting for towns or community organizations. It's a demonstration of some really great data resource tools. So whether you're writing a grant or doing a town plan, things like that, you need data. So that webinar will be a really great just introduction to some new and really powerful data resources where you can get data at a level that you used to have to hire a consultant for, but now it's available publicly. So that's might be really interesting to folks who are doing grant writing and the like. Also, I dropped in a link to our Cognito form that's just our program feedback. So we love to hear how people enjoyed our events, whether it was helpful to you, ideas you have, things that you might want to learn about. So please, it's like 3 questions. It's anonymous. Just we love it when people just click on that link and let us know if they learned something either from the recording or from the live presentation, and I'll share that when we post. So I will post this recording on our YouTube channel with all the links to it. So the links to the slides and the link to the program feedback will be there. You can always find resources at brattleborodevelopment.com/SVEP. That's the Southern Vermont Economy Project that has all our resources on it and contact information for me and my colleagues if you ever have questions. So if we don't have any more questions, maybe just give it 1 second. Anyone else have a question? Erica says, thank you. You're welcome, Erica. I hope this was helpful. I think, hosting an intern is a great experience. And if done well and you kind of set yourself up for success, I think if you work with Kristen, you will definitely do that. So thank you very much. And we'll get this posted and out to everybody. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Kristen or to myself and we'll connect you to her directly. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.